Hello and welcome to the Eris video tutorial series. In this first section, we're going to give a high-level overview of what Eris futures are and why you trade them over other products. In simple terms, Eris contracts mirror the economics of OTC interest rate swaps, but in a more efficient futures package. Listed at CME Group, Eris futures are much more accessible to end users in a standardized format that is easy to trade. To hedge interest rates, end users have traditionally relied on OTC interest rate swaps or other rate futures, each with certain limitations. Swaps allow a great deal of flexibility for hedging longer-term LIBOR risk, precisely matching underlying exposures. Unfortunately, since the clearing mandate, the margins and clearing costs for these highly customized products has gotten prohibitively expensive for many end users and all but a handful of liquidity providers. Futures, by contrast, are more standardized with concentrated liquidity, allowing a broader set of participants and market makers, which leads to lower margin requirements and clearing costs. However, the more rigid framework of traditional futures has limited the application for some end users and doesn't perfectly reflect underlying exposures. Eris combines the best elements of both OTC swaps and listed rate futures into one package, incorporating LIBOR swap economics, tender granularity, and tax and accounting treatment with the efficiencies of futures. It's truly a low-cost hedging alternative accessible to all. A key value driver for Eris Swap Futures are the margin savings versus cleared swaps. Let's take a closer look here. Cleared swaps require upfront initial margins based on an assumed 5 or 7 day closeout period in the event of a default. Eris futures only require initial margins based on a 2-day period. As such, Eris margins are roughly 40 to 50% of margins for swaps. In this illustration, you can see a 5-year cleared swap would require initial margin of 2.4 to 2.8% hedge notional, while Eris would require 1.15%, or $1.15 million on a $100 million notional. Put into context the current higher margin environment, saving 50 to 60% margin today is worth more than it might have been a year ago. On a $100 million 10-year swap portfolio, you could save about $3.2 million by switching to Eris today versus about $1.9 million this time last year. Finally, let's take a quick look at the basic contract details. A key feature of Eris futures is that they can either be rolled quarterly like other futures or left outstanding to underlying maturity, similar to a swap. A long Eris position is equivalent to receiving fixed, like most other fixed income products. We have quarterly IMM effective dates and predetermined fixed coupons, which generally match MAC or market agreed coupon swap terms. All underlying swap cash flows are reflected in a 100 index futures price. Thank you for your interest in Eris Swap Futures. In our next section, we will review Eris ticker conventions and where to find the contracts. In the future sections, we'll go into more detail on pre-trade setup for Eris, how to execute, and how to book and report Eris positions post-trade.